After Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, the US declared war, thereby dragging them into World War II, but only in the Pacific theatre. Yet, 4 days after this, Germany declared war on the United States, when it didn't have to, thereby bringing the United States into the European theatre and thus making things considerably harder for Germany as a result. Which raises the question, why? Why did Germany declare war on the United States when it could have just let it deal with Japan? So to begin, not everyone in Germany wanted to declare war against the United States. Joachim von Ribbentrop, Germany's foreign minister, recommended against doing so. The defensive pact between the two nations only required Germany to join the war in the event of Japan being the victim of aggression. His belief was that without an excuse to fight in Europe, the Americans would focus on Japan, and thus stop sending supplies to Britain and the USSR in order to use them in the Pacific. So the first reason why German leaders, specifically one German leader, made the declaration of war was that he saw America fighting in Europe as inevitable. The US was already supplying Germany's enemies at this point, and Washington's plans for war in Europe had been leaked shortly before this. As such, it was decided that better to be the one to declare war and maintain the initiative than wait for the Americans to pick their moment. The second reason was the hope that Japan would reciprocate. Japan was facing an incredibly powerful enemy, and so Germany's, and I guess also Italy's, help would prove valuable in dividing America's attention. As a result, Berlin expected that Japan would pay them back by declaring war on the USSR. The problem with this was that the Japanese had no interest in fighting the Soviets. Reason 3 was that German leaders believed that declaring war on the United States would force Europe's neutral nations into picking a side. Countries like Turkey, Sweden and Spain traded with the United States, and a war with Germany meant that their trade may decline. The hope being that these countries would then turn to Germany and its allies for any needs from there, and from there they could be coerced into joining the war. This wasn't exactly a logical plan, but this was due to reason number 4. The Germans thought they were about to win. From the war's beginning, Germany was on a bit of a winning streak, and since the invasion of the USSR earlier that year, the German army had advanced all the way to here. It was assumed that the Soviet Union was a mere few months from complete collapse, at which point those troops could be moved to reinforce the West from any US invasion. And, in case you're wondering, the Italians also declared war on the US because they didn't want to upset the Germans. As you'll know, this decision was not the best, since Roosevelt believed that defeating Germany was the priority, which of course meant bad news for them.